kind of wanted to kick off the tutorial series by going over one of the things in Ableton that kind of stumped me when I was first starting out, and that has to do with Ableton's built-in synth called Operator. So we'll just kind of start off by dragging in an instance of Operator, and we'll get rid of everything else we're not using for this demonstration. And we'll just kind of start out by placing some notes here, just so we have something to kind of work with and demonstrate. And that'll just give us this. We'll just loop this out here. So as you can kind of see here, I mean, you would expect that pretty much every synth has the ability to change velocity or the volume of any given note. And Operator does, but unfortunately right out of the box it doesn't behave that way because nothing's set up. So if you play this, you would kind of expect the velocity or the volume to follow this as we've set it, but right now they're all the same, and that's because we haven't linked our velocity over to volume yet, which we'll show you how to do. So basically within Operator, clicking any one of these sections here updates this main view, and it basically gives us the ability to have a whole lot of different settings in one single window, which is pretty nice. They've done a pretty good job keeping the interface very kind of clean and concise here. And one of the things that we want to do here that's pretty important is basically this last lower right section is kind of an overall connection / parameters setting window, and what we want to pay attention to are these areas right here. And as you can see right out of the box, velocity isn't connected to anything. So what we want to do is kind of scroll down here and we'll find volume, and you also have to pay attention to the amount. So we want to crank the amount up to 100%. So basically that's telling Operator that whatever we set the velocity to in our MIDI editor, it's going to affect it 100%. So now when we replay everything, this note will be more quiet than say this one, and subsequently this one will be more quiet than this one. So that's pretty much how you link things in Operator, which is really handy. Why it doesn't do that out of the box, I know it's kind of annoying, but it gives you a certain flexibility that you otherwise wouldn't have. And the nice thing with Operator here is not only do you have an A connection, but you can also split off your connection and have velocity control multiple things here too. So I mean, you can get absolutely ridiculous with it, and we'll just have it control, say, the LFO rate, and we'll turn our LFO on here. And it's important to know that you always have to adjust the amount here, and that amount is relative to whatever you have this set at. So if you have this rate set at its highest value of 127, this is now basically saying that the velocity that you're setting your MIDI at is now having 100% control, between 0 and 127 value basically here. So if you turn this to 50%, it's only going to be affecting this 50% in either direction. So that's important to know, and it gives you greater flexibility in setting all sorts of stuff. And that way now, I mean, without changing anything else on our velocity window, we've now added a little bit of LFO modulation on top of the velocity volume modulation. Now we can listen to it and we'll get a completely different effect. And you can go in and change this until your heart's content here. And you can just edit all sorts of stuff in here. One of the nice things that's kind of fun to do is basically modulating pitch bend over to panorama, which can be fun, and that'll basically flip it around and kind of pan it out. So go over here and enable our pitch bend, which should already be selected, but in the event that it's not, that's how you would set it back. And we'll just put some breakpoints here, and we'll just kind of have some fun by just kind of randomly putting in some automation here and see how that affects our sound as far as our panning goes. And this will not only affect the panning, but will also affect the pitch bend. So we should get some pretty interesting results, especially when it's combined with that LFO. So we'll see what this guy sounds like. So yeah, you can just go to town with it. So I think you get the idea, but yeah, I mean, there's endless possibilities with just some very basic connections here. It's almost unfortunate that this isn't expandable. Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't even do it on the newer version here. I was kind of hoping that they would have added some even greater options for connecting things further. There's probably ways that you could probably do this behind the scenes and do some crazy stuff with racks and stuff. But for the most part, I mean, just right out of the box, you've got just incredible sound design ability with a very simple synth that doesn't really take a lot of playing around to start to get a pretty good feel for. So hopefully that helps explain operators' connections a little bit more, and specifically kind of helps some people out by just kind of understanding how to just do some basic velocity mapping within Operator and just use it a lot more for your productions, because it's a pretty fun, pretty capable little synth, and it doesn't really take much resources to use. So hopefully that helps you guys out, and yeah, take care.